إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن نبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. أرحب بكم جميعا and welcome all of you. Inshallah, we continue in this class of fiqh, still learning about some rulings about food and drinks. الدرس الثالث, this is the third session in this chapter here. كتاب الأطعمة من ملخص الفقه, still reading from the ملخص الفقه of Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan. In the last class we stopped at the point when the Sheikh was we were sharing with you the animals, the land animals that are not permissible for us to eat. The land animals that are not permissible for us Muslims to eat. And that the ulama, they mention, the scholars, they have classified the land animals that are prohibited to be eaten in 6 types. ما نص عليه بعينه كالحمر الأهلية. Number 1, animals that are particularly stated in the Quran or in the Sunnah, in this beautiful religion of Islam, that they are prohibited for us, as for domestic donkeys, the donkeys that are around the people, they use for different things. ثانيا ما وضع له حد وضابط كما له ناب من السباع أو مخلب من الطير. That number 2, and we remind you that we drink with the right. Now that's the sunnah, and that's what we're supposed to do. Number 2, animals restricted by certain characteristics and criteria. They are prohibited because of certain things that they possess, such as like the feigned beasts of prey, like tigers and lions and leopards and the birds with talons and claws, like a falcon, an eagle, and the hawks and the like, that they use to eat. Because somebody's going to say, oh, those little birds, they have claws, small ones, but they don't use them to eat. They eat with their beaks, but the ulama, they mentioned those,
like a chicken doesn't.
Hey, so the animals that they have talons and claws, that they use them to eat and to catch their prey. ثالثا ما يأكل الجيف كالرخم والغراب. Number 3, whatever feeds on carrions, like vultures and crows. Crows. The black one, the crow. رابعا ما يستخبث كالفأرة والحية. Well, number 4, what is persinous and injurious, like rats and snakes. خامسا ما تولد من مأكول وغير مأكول كالبغل، لأنه يتولد من مأكول والحصان وغير مأكول الحمار. Number 5, whatever is born as a result of copulation between 2 animals, one of which is lawful, like for example the horse, and the other that is prohibited to eat, like in this case is the mule, okay? سادسا ما أمر الشارع بقتله أو نهى عن قتله كالفواسق الخمس والهدهد والسرد. Number 6, whatever this beautiful religion of Islam in its legislation and laws has ordered us to kill, like the 5 pernicious animals, the rat, the snake, scorpion, rabbit, dog, and the kite, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden us from killing, like the hoopoe and the shrike. وقفنا الهدهد.
Oh, hudhud. Kite is.
Kite is a small bird. Is a small bird. Huh? Kite. That's a small bird. Allahu Alam. If you Google it, you may find it, but not now. Inshallah, maybe later on. نواصل. قال وما عدا ما ذكر من الحيوانات والطيور فهو حلال على أصل الإباحة كالخيل وبهيمة الأنعام والدجاج والحمر الوحشية والظباء والنعامة والأرنب وسائر الوحوش لأن ذلك كله مستطاب فيدخل في قوله تعالى في سورة الأعراف ويحل لهم الطيبات. After mentioning these 6 things, the Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan says, all other animals and birds that are not included under the above mentioned categories are considered lawful, halal, according to the rule stating that anything is deemed lawful until proved otherwise. Because when it comes to food, everything is lawful in food. Unless we have a text from Quran or Sunnah that said that this particular food is haram. Unlike the deen, when it comes to the religion, aqidah, worshiping Allah, everything is not permissible for you to do. You don't just start praying in any way. And then when somebody comes and says, why are you praying like that? You tell him, oh no, bring me a hadith or an ayah that I'm supposed to pray like this. No. You're supposed to learn how to pray correctly, how to fast, how to perform zakat, how to make hajj, how to treat our parents correctly, how the husband treats his wife, how the wife be with her husband and children, how to treat the neighbors, how to... All of these things, we have to learn how to do it. But when it comes to the food, clothing, for example, everything is lawful. If someone tell you, no, what you eating? That haram. Say, daliluka. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. I don't know. I'm not from everybody. I don't know. That's why it's important for us never ever just be quick to say haram. Akhi, is okay. No. If you see someone doing something, ask them. If you see someone eating some food that you never seen before, say, Akhi, what is that? And he'll tell you, oh, this is some steak from...
Kangaroo.
Huh?
Kangaroo.
Somebody ask you that question?
It's a kangaroo meat.
Kangaroo? Ah. All right. You took us to Australia? All right. Let's go back, man. Alhamdulillah. So if the person, for example, tell you that's a kangaroo meat, don't jump to haram, akhi. Why? Beautiful, you know. What you talking about beautiful? A horse is not beautiful. Cows are beautiful. Huh? Pigeons are beautiful. Some goats, yes, are beautiful. All of them are beautiful. All of them. Huh? It's not because it's beautiful, we don't do it back home. In my country, that's haram. Your country? What you talking about? He said it has to be haram in the deen of Allah. You ask him, Sadaqi, I never seen that. This is halal. If he said, yeah, it's halal to me. Because the qaida, everything is halal until prove me that it's haram, I will stop eating it. Bring me proof. Don't tell me what you fear, what you like. Animal rights. Animal rights. They tell you, oh, the Muslims on the Eid, they propagate this propaganda. Muslims are cruel. They slaughter a lot of sheep on the Eid al-Adha. What about Burger King? Huh?
McDonald's.
What about McDonald's? What about the Longhorn? And what about the Texas de Brazil? Huh? What about the them in Thanksgiving? Huh? Halalun alayhim, haramun alayna. How many birds and how many animals they killed every day? More than what the Muslims. And the Muslims, they kill for ibadah. Them they kill for dunya. Allah musta'an. Now. So the Shaykh says, all other animals and birds that are not included under the above mentioned categories are considered lawful according to the rules stating that anything is deemed lawful until proved otherwise. With a proof. Proved, not He says the examples of such animals that are permissible for us to eat: horses, animals of grazing livestock like what?
Goat, sheep,
Cow, sheep, goat, poultry, zebras, antelopes. Antelopes is what?
deer.
Like the deer and that, all them. Huh? Ostrich, you know the ostrich, right? The tall bird.
Yes, good.
Huh?
Yes, very good.
You ate it before? MashaAllah. Rabbits, and other wild animals, that they don't fit under this category that we just mentioned. All these animals are considered good food and lawful, so they are included under the meaning of the Quranic verse in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the meaning of the Quran. This is not the translation of the Quran. You cannot translate the Quran in English. You can't translate. So therefore, some of the ulama, they mentioned, they says that the proper way is to say the translation of the meaning. You cannot have a translation of the Quran. You just can't. You can't. Because Quran is in Arabic and you can never translate it. But what the people who have qualifications, the ulama, they mentioned, they have to be qualified in both languages, in Arabic and in the language that translate into, like English, for example. And they have to have knowledge of the Sharia too, knowledge of the Deen of Allah, because how are they gonna understand? That's why the ulama, they mentioned, for example, the translation of Yusuf Ali. You know that one? He's a Pakistani guy who translated, and for years they were used, and he's full of a lot of problems. Because he's a man, for example, he don't even know much of Arabic, and he doesn't have knowledge of the religion. This Yusuf Ali, he's famous, is given up. There was one of the first ones. That's why, alhamdulillah, Mujamma al-Malik Fahd, they came with the Noble Quran, which is translated by one of the great scholars of our time, Sheikh Taqiyuddin al-Hilali, from Maghrib, from Morocco, along with Dr. Muhammad Khan. Muhsin? He's not Muhammad Muhsin Khan? Just Muhsin? Okay, Muhsin Khan. It's right here. Allahu Akbar. Taqiyuddin al-Hilali and Muhammad, ya Rajul. Muhammad Muhsin Khan. Muhammad. Hey, now. So his name is Muhammad, his father is Muhsin. Muhammad Muhsin Khan. Now, rahimahumullah, they both died. So that book, you don't give it. It's famous. It's being given in a West. You don't give that one. Yusuf Ali has mukhalafat, has issues and mistakes in it, because this man, he was translated according to his understanding, not the understanding of the Salaf al-Salih, especially in matters of the names and the attributes of Allah. You want to give out the Noble Quran. Okay? Barakallahu feekum.
What about tafsir, the tafsir?
Huh?
Like translating of the tafsir, like a Tabari or something. That's different.
Same thing. A person should have understanding. How are you going to translate something that you don't have the understanding of the religion? It's not enough to just be good in Arabic and French or Swahili or Urdu. With that, you have to have sound knowledge of the understanding of the religion according to the understanding of the Salaf. Otherwise, a person, he's just going to try to find something, what this ayah mean, and he's going to Google it, for example, in our times, and he may get the Ash'ari explanation, and he's mashallah, and he put it there because he don't understand. Or he may be that person who's translating, he may be Ash'ari himself, he may be Sufi, he may be Mu'tazili, and he's going to put his own understanding of that Ash'ari or Mu'tazili instead of give you the right thing. So the ulama now, they advise with this version of that's why they says, look, they very precise tafsir. They didn't say tafsir al-Quran or tafsir ma'ani al-Quran al-Karim bil-lugha al-Injliziyya, interpretation of the meaning of the Noble Quran in the English language. They don't say interpretation of the Quran in English. No, you cannot interpret the Quran in English because Quran is in Arabic.
And you didn't say translation, because translation doesn't.
And even if when you read the translation of the meanings, it's never the same. It's never, ever. If you really want to taste the sweetness of Quran and have an impact on your heart, you have to read in Arabic. Because English is not like Arabic, ya ikhwan. English is not Arabic. English is just another language. Okay? Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-A'raf, وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. But the interpretation of the meaning of this ayah in English, and Allah makes lawful for them the good things, okay? And sometimes if we forget and say, Allah says, and we say English, just you know what I mean, okay? Because sometimes we forget, but you know now that Quran is not in English, and you cannot translate Quran in any other language, but rather those who are qualified, they can use what Allah has given them from those gifts we mentioned to you that the ulama they mentioned to give what? An interpretation of the meaning of the Quran, not translation of the Quran. No. قال الشيخ ويستثنى من ذلك الجلالة من البقر والإبل وهي التي أكثر علفها النجاسة فيحرم أكلها التي تأكل الجلة. الجلالة تأكل الجلة، والجلة هي العذرة والعياذ بالله. البعر تأكل عذرة، تأكل بعر. لما روى أحمد وأبو داود رحمهم الله وغيرهما من حديث ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن أكل الجلالة وألبانها. ومن حديث عمرو بن شعيب نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن لحوم الحمر الأهلية وعن ركوب الجلالة وأكل لحمها، وسواء في ذلك بهيمة الأنعام أو الدجاج ونحوه، ولبنها وبيضها نجس، ولبنها وبيضها نجس حتى تحبس 3 وتطعم الطاهر فقط. Now when the Shaykh mentioned these animals that are lawful now, cows and goats and chicken and roosters, he says, however, there is some of these lawful animals that make the exception that they become unlawful for a reason, like the jallala, animals that the ulama they call jallala, not jalala. Jallala of cows and camels. Why? Because they eat filth. They eat feces, and that's what they feed on. They feed on feces, and especially manure and this. Okay. Imam Ahmad and Abu Dawud rahimahullah and other compilers of hadith have related that Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma has said the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade eating the jallala or drinking its milk. If there is a sheep or goat, cow, that they eat manure, they eat feces and all these things, they eat their own feces or something else that is filthy, then they are not permissible to be eaten nor to drink their milk. It is also related on the authority of Amr ibn Shu'aib that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ forbade eating the meat of domestic donkeys and forbade riding the jallala or eating its meat. And then the Shaykh said it does not make any difference whether these animals who feed on these filthy things is from the animals of grazing livestock like cows, sheep, goats, or poultry or other animals. Moreover, its milk and eggs are also considered impure. Okay? Until the animal is detained for 3 days. If an animal was caught eating those things, like somebody has a farm, and then there was he see that the certain animal was eating from those filth, now it should be detained for 3 days and fed on pure fodder only. Okay? And then inshallah ta'ala it become lawful after that. قال ابن القيم رحمه الله أجمع المسلمون على أن الدابة إذا علفت بالنجاسة أو النجاسة ثم حبست وأكلت الطاهرات حل لبنها ولحمها وكذا الزرع والثمار إذا سقيت بالماء النجس ثم سقيت بالطاهر حلت لاستحالة وصف الخبيث وتبدله بالطيب. انتهى كلامه رحمه الله تعالى من كتابه القيم إعلام الموقعين. Ibn al-Qayyim رحمه الله تعالى, in one of his great books, all his books are great, it's called إعلام الموقعين. He says that the scholars, the Muslim scholars, have unanimous agreement that if the animal is fed on impure fodder, the food is impure, then detained and fed on pure food, its meat and milk become lawful. And we learned from before, it's like 3 days. Likewise, if plants and fruits are watered with impure water, sometimes people they use sewage, water to, it happens, we hear things like that in some places. It says likewise, if plants, whether it be mint or whether it be anything, and fruits are watered with impure water, then they are watered after that with pure water, they are deemed lawful. Thus they are no longer deemed impure food because they have been converted to good and lawful food by means of pure water. Okay? So you see how there is details in this. It's not just chapter of food and drink. Well, it's easy. It's easy to eat, but to know the rules and regulations, and to be able to use that knowledge to stay away from haram and eat only halal, and to be able to help others who don't know. That's why we're here in this class, and we can learn bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And especially this is something that we do every day. We're not talking about something that you might never do in your life. And even if that, it's good to learn because you never know. Okay? This is something that you need to learn because we eat every day. That's who we are, human. قال الشيخ حفظه الله الشيخ صالح الفوزان: ويكره أكل بصل وثوم ونحوهما مما له رائحة كريهة خصوصا عند حضور المساجد لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم كما في صحيح مسلم: من أكل من هذه الشجرة، هذه البصل والثوم، فلا يقربن مسجدنا. فما بالك بالذي يدخن؟ هذا كيف يقرب المسجد هذا؟ Now, Sheikh says also eating onion, garlic, and such like foods where they have strong smell, especially if they are not cooked, if they are fresh and raw, they have bad smell. This is detestable, especially when attending the masjid. You want to come to the masjid, don't eat onions, and unless if you clean your mouth and brush correctly and the like. Especially attending the mosque, because the Prophet ﷺ said in hadith in Sahih Muslim, whoever eats from this plant, especially garlic, should not enter our mosque. You ate some raw garlic and you have smell still in your mouth, don't come to the masjid. Go clean yourself. Go brush your mouth and teeth. And if this is the case for garlic, which is permissible, what about those who smoke? I don't know if it happened to you before, but sometimes somebody stand next to you and you can't even breathe. Can't even breathe. See him, he don't care because that's who he is. And he comes to the masjid and stand next to you for this in salat, and you're holding your breath. You're not even concentrating on the salat anymore. It happened to me before. If this is the case, what about his wife, Miskina Allah? She live with him. He just pray Asr next to you. Huh? What about his wife? Yes, subhanAllah. What about his children when he comes home? Without that foul smell. They have to fear Allah. The ulama, I read some fatwa, they says if you praying next to a person like that have foul smell, whether it be from cigarette or anything else, you move. You're okay. If it's bothering you, you can move. You can go somewhere else in the salat. go to another spot. And also, if this person, you can advise them as a Muslim to a Muslim, and if he listens and says, SubhanAllah, I didn't know it's that bad, that's good. But if he's like, I don't care who you are, who you talk to me, then you report it to the Imam of the Masjid or the people in charge of in the Masjid, and they will talk to him. They'll tell him, listen, Akhi, I don't know if you don't smell it or not, we do. People are complaining about you. And they already did what they're supposed to do. They talked to you one-on-one, and you didn't listen. Now, we have to protect the Masjid and protect the Muslims. Okay, so don't come with these things here in the Masjid. Sometimes, Allah al-Musta'an, we've seen people sometimes in Jumu'ah come in. I've seen it personally. A person is like right there by the Masjid, and he wants to finish his cigarette. He wants to finish it. And then throw it and come to the Masjid. Allah yahdihim. And beside the point, smoking is haram. It's not something I detest, it's haram. It's harmful to the body. And it's waste to the money. You know how much money those people spend on cigarettes?
New York or here?
Huh?
New York, $12 now.
No, $12 a pack. Some of them, they smoke 3 of them.
And when you tell them it's haram, they say no, it's makruh.
You see? So now, it's like, you know how much money? If you tell that person how long he's been smoking, 40 years. Okay, do the math. That man, he was smoking $30 a day. Huh? So, do the math right now. Let's do it. $30 a day?
It was before.
How much is that? Huh?
How many years?
Okay, let's say it was $5. Okay, we do just $5.
Used to be $3 first.
Okay, so $15 a day time,
365.
huh? Time 365, how much is that?
5,475.
400?
36,000.
6,000. Close, 6,000.
36,000?
6,000.
So,
For
$24,000. 40 years, $24,000.
1 year.
Allah. In 20 years?
109,000.
109 and 500. Almost 110.
He could buy a house
Yeah.
and do a lot of things. And plus, who behind these cigarettes, the companies? The disbelievers. Huh? Disbelievers, enemies of Islam. You know how many Muslims smoke? A lot. Maybe more Muslims smoke than non-Muslims. Unfortunately, we've seen them in Hajj, in Arafah, in Mina, with the ihram, and they smoke. Some of them smoke in the tent. They don't care. Can't even sleep. And plus, it's not only is harmful for him and harmful for the people around him. Very harmful. Not only do they causing harm to themselves, they causing harm to others, and that's haram too. And they wasting their money. Some of them, if they had to smoke, if they have money only for cigarettes and or to buy milk for the baby, that money gonna go to the cigarettes. Yes. نسأل الله السلامة والعافية. May Allah guide those people and protect us. نعم. ثم قال الشيخ ومن اضطر إلى محرم بأن خاف التلف إن لم يأكله غير السم حل له منه ما يسد رمقه. لا يجلس هناك ويأكل ويطلب هات صوص، لا، أي يمسك قوته ويحفظها، لقوله تعالى في سورة البقرة فمن اضطر غير باغ ولا عاد فلا إثم عليه. The Shaykh continued by saying, if anyone we know what's halal for you and what's haram. You know these things is haram. Okay, meta, this, that is haram. Pig is haram. Dead animals that are not slaughtered is haram. And this animal and this is haram. Tigers, lions, all of this haram. However, Sometimes you might find yourself in a position you got nothing, no halal, nothing, no plants, not even plants to chew on. He says, if one is compelled by necessity, necessity to eat a prohibited food other than poison food. Poison food doesn't fall in this category. You should stay away from any poison food. Now, lest he should perish, because that person, if he doesn't eat from that prohibited meat, he will perish and die. In this case, the ulama says he has to eat to protect himself and save his life. So that prohibited food at that time become lawful for him to eat, but only the amount that will support him and keep him alive. He's not going to sit there and eat 3 pounds and ask for barbecue sauce. No, he's not going to do that. He's not going to sit there and enjoy it. He takes the minimum to keep himself alive. The proof for this is shown in the noble verse. And once again, the interpretation of the verse, 173 of Surah Al-Baqarah. But whoever is forced by necessity, neither desiring that, nor transgressing the limits of Allah, then there is no sin upon such a person. Okay? ومن اضطر إلى طعام غيره مع عدم اضطرار صاحب ذلك الطعام إليه لزم بذله له بقدر ما يسد رمقه بقيمته لو كان يستطيع ذلك الدفع. Also the Shaykh says, if anyone is compelled to eat from the food of others, someone is starving, about to perish, and he has no food except someone else has some food, some lawful food. He said, if anyone is compelled to eat from the food of others, provided that the owner of such a food does not face the same circumstances of compulsion, maybe he's not going to take something and he's going to die. Okay? He says, the former must be offered whatever may keep him alive in return for paying the price of the food if they are able to do that. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala said, إن كان المضطر فقيرا لم يلزمه عوض إذ إطعام الجائع وكسوة العاري فرض كفاية ويصيران فرض عين على المعين إذا لم يقم غيره به. انتهى كلامه رحمه الله تعالى من كتابه الاختيارات. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala said in his book اختيارات, this book the ulama they gather the opinions that Shaykh al-Islam chosen. When there is a difference of opinions in a matter, the ulama they choose what's based on the adillah, if there is adillah, based on the understanding Allah has given them, and they call them ikhtiyarat. This is the chosen opinions by this great Shaykh al-Islam. He said, if the person in need of the food is poor now, because remember in the previous point he says, if a person need to eat from the food of others, as long as they have enough themselves, then they should give him and to pay for that. Now he said, if the person is in need of the food is poor, then he does not have to pay compensation in return for food. Why? He says because in this beautiful religion of Islam, feeding the hungry and clothing the person who doesn't have no clothing naked is a collective duty, meaning somebody from the Muslims have to do that. And it becomes an individual duty on the person other than whom no one can undertake such a duty. You're the only one around, nobody. You're the only one there. You're not going to tell the person, it's a communal obligation, I'm not the only one. You are the only one there. It's just you and him. But if there is other people, then somebody have to take care of that. ومن اضطر إلى نفع مال الغير مع بقاء عينه كثياب لدفع برد أو حبل أو دلو لاستقاء ماء وكقدر لطبخ وجب بذله له مجانا مع عدم حاجة صاحبه إليه لأن الله تعالى ذم على منعه بقوله في سورة الماعون ويمنعون الماعون. Look how much, subhanAllah, many benefits we get and many details we get here. If someone is compelled to use the properties of others without consuming such property, like using clothes to protect the body from coldness, or a rope, a rope or a bucket to obtain water from a well, because you need that, or a cooking pot. Somebody don't have a cooking pot. You may be like, subhanAllah, cooking pot? How many you have at home? How many pots I have at home? Huh? Yes, subhanAllah. We have like closet full of pots. Right, Sheikh? Huh? Subhanallah. Some people don't have nothing. They have nothing. They want to cook, they got nothing. Or a cooking pot. He must be given such things at no cost, provided that the owner is not in need of them. But if you're going to go, you can't take from someone that's the only thing he had. But you tell him, okay, come back. Once I finish, that's the only one I have. Me too, that's the only one I have. I'm cooking, I'm using it right now. Come back in an hour or two, you can use it. He said, this is because Allah the Almighty has dispraised withholding such things from the poor. In Surah Al-Ma'un, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned those who withhold simple assistance. Al-Ma'un, which is the pots and the like. قال ابن عباس وابن مسعود رضي الله عنهما وغيرهما الماعون هو ما يتعاطاه الناس بينهم ويتعاورونه من الإعارة ويتعاورونه ويعيرونه مثل الفأس والقدر والدلو وأشباه ذلك. Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما and Ibn Mas'ud رضي الله عنه, they have a comment on this. What is the ma'un that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned here? It says this verse refers to the utensils people share and borrow among themselves, such as axe, pots, buckets, and the like. See, people before, they used to do this. I grow up, me myself, we used to do these things. I remember my mom, you will send me. So we have a small pot just for us. Then we have guests now. My mom, she can't use that little, she need to cook 4 or 5 times. She will send me, I remember. Redwan, go. I go because some there in the village, when we grow up, they have big pots. Huh? And then they like, okay, take it. And they use it. Likewise, sometimes we have a land, we do agriculture. And sometimes, we misplace some of the utensil to use for irrigation. We go and borrow from the other people. But sometimes my father, rahimahullah, send me, and they're like, we're using it. And then I come back, and my father says, okay, we're not going to do it tomorrow, inshallah. Likewise, people, they come and they borrow from us, and that was beautiful days, subhanAllah. These days, Allah al-Musta'an, everybody on his own. Can't even give you a screwdriver, nothing. And you have a screwdriver? He'll tell you why Lowe's they close. It's not even 11 p.m. Go to Lowe's and get your own. Allah understand. Share with you a story I read in one of the books. A noble woman. She has neighbors who are poor, and they come and ask, some sugar, a little bit of rice, give them a little bit of rice. And then she herself went and asked from the same people. She says, oh, can I have a little bit of rice? They give her a little bit of rice, whatever they have. Then her father says, mother, yesterday I bought you 25 pounds of rice. What happened? I just bought you a 25 pounds bag of rice. Why are you borrowing? She said, no, I want them to feel like that we too were in need. I want them to feel like okay to come to me and ask me, because here we ask them. Yes. Look at these people, ya akhwan. She goes and says, hey, can I borrow some rice? Oh yeah, we have a little bit. Oh, thank you, Jazakallah. She has 25 pounds sitting in her kitchen. Why? To make them feel like that they are also needed, and you're not the only one that borrow. We too borrow from you. SubhanAllah. أخلاق المسلمين. أين وصلنا؟ ابن مسعود قال ابن عباس وابن مسعود رضي الله عنهما الماعون هو ما يتعاطاه الناس بينهم ويتعاورونه، يعني من الإعارة، يعيره من الفأس. فأس تشتغل أنت، حياكم الله. فأس، قدر، دلو، أشباه ذلك. So we remember now that if somebody come and borrow something, it's a beautiful thing, it's the good things of Islam. You give it. So I want to borrow a tool, borrow something, you give them. And those who borrow, they have to give it back, of course. So Ibn Mas'ud and Ibn Abbas and Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhuma and others, they said, this verse here in Surah Al-Ma'un, verse number 7, refers to the utensils people share and borrow among themselves, such as axes. Sometimes axe, person wants to cut some bushes or some, especially they live in the forest. Like we here in Georgia, there is a lot of trees, there is a lot of things. Pots. You have a lot of pots. Some people don't have anything, man. They poor. They wanna borrow a pot. Actually, if you have an extra, you give it to them. You tell them, you know what? You can have this, inshallah. It's yours. But if you don't, that's all you have, and you need it for yourself, your family, they can borrow it. And ask them, tell them how long you're going to need it. Then a couple hours, 2-3 hours. Alhamdulillah. I said, as long as you bring it in 5 hours, because I need it for ourselves to cook for our families. Buckets. We don't even use buckets these days. Who in here has a bucket? Huh? You have a bucket? Okay, what color?
Home Depot. I think orange. Orange.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. At least 2 people have a bucket.
I have an ice cream bucket.
Ice cream?
Buckets.
Empty or full? Empty right now? So it's not ice cream anymore. It's empty bucket. And the like, there's a lot of things. People, they borrow many things, ya akhwan. Especially in times of need, like I told you, like poor family, they have guests, and they don't have nothing. I remember I grew up like that. We used to borrow everything, our family. Sometimes we even borrow blankets. We have family, like 10 people come to the house, we don't have blankets for them. So my mom sent me, or anybody, go, and we collect blankets from other people. We collect blankets, we collect pillows, we collect mattresses, so the people sleep. But we give the people the best in the house. Likewise, if there is a wedding, we borrow everything. In the wedding, I remember, because I remember in our pots and they have names.
Yes.
And we used to say, why we have our names? Because they borrow them. Other people borrow.
Yeah.
And then, especially in the wedding, they borrow everything. Plates, pots, forks, anything. Chairs. And then they have names. So then after the wedding, then people, we give them, this is so-and-so, Hajj Fulana, this is Abdullah, this is Kada. And we give it back to them, subhanAllah. That was beautiful days. Sharing with people and helping them out. This is from the akhlaq and the teaching of this beautiful religion of Islam. ثم قال الشيخ ومن مر بثمر بستان في شجره. Now the Sheikh is going to talk about now, what if you pass by a field that have fruits like apple, trees, bananas, peaches, apricot, fig, whatever. Then do you eat, you don't eat? And if you eat, what do you eat? And what you don't eat, how you eat? Can you take some home? All of that we're going to learn, inshallah, in the next class, okay? Because now we're not going to have enough time to finish it. Because there's a lot of good details, subhanAllah, because sometimes you go past by a field that have tomatoes, and you're hungry. Can you eat or not eat? Yes, you can, but with some regulations.
You're talking about like necessity eating or just regular? You're talking about like someone who's about to die, or just someone who's just hungry?
No necessity. Yeah, you just passing. It's not like necessity. La. You just passing through, and you pass by an apple field full of like 50 trees of apple, and they look good. Do you eat? You don't. And if it's permissible, what is the limits? What is the regulations to that? Okay? Because there is details, inshallah. So if you pass by any field, wait until you read the chapter. Inshallah, okay? I don't know. You go to Walmart or the section in not Walgreen. What is that? Kroger. And you pass by apples and say, well, he said that we can. No. Who said a field? Not Kroger. بارك الله فيكم جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
يؤذن الآن وصل